What's up, people? So in this video we're going to switch out my manual windows in the Impala and we're going to install an AutoLoc power window kit. I already went ahead and did this side. It was pretty simple. The kit I found mine on eBay for 165 bucks. It comes with 2 actuators, all the switches and all the hardware. So what I'll do first is I'll show you everything it comes with, and then we'll go ahead and do a little install. Alright guys, so real quick, before we jump into the power window install, give you a quick update on the Impala. As you guys can see, I did not get the Impala painted, and that's due to the weather it got a little bit too cold too fast. But I was able to go ahead and paint the door jambs, so I'll show you guys that right now. Alright guys, so here's the door jambs painted up. Everything came out real nice. Paint laid down real good. Happy with it. I got a braided line in there, and that's going to be to run my wires through for the power window install. Back here in the trunk area, here's the bottom of the trunk that's painted. I was able to paint the jambs in the trunk too. Everything seemed to turn out pretty good. I'm happy with it. Then finally, over on the driver's side, everything's painted there. Give you guys a look at that. Everything came out good. And this is the side we're going to go ahead and install the power window, since I already did the passenger side. Alright guys, so before we get into the install, I'll show you, this is where I got the power window kit from. It's AutoLoc, and it's a universal power window kit. In this kit they provide all the wiring and switches that you need. One for the passenger side, and then it's got 2 more. And these are for the driver's side, so you can control the driver's side and the passenger side. Here's everything else it comes with. Here's the little pods for the switches if you intend to use those. You can mount them to your door panel. 2 templates there, one for each pod for the switches. This is actually used to manually crank the window as you're doing all the adjustments. These up here are caps to cap off the hole where the actual door crank went. Then all these right here are adapters to be able to mount the actuator to your window crank. Here's all the screws and brackets to mount everything. And here goes the actuator arm that connects to your crank and everything to actually convert it to power windows. Go ahead and give you guys a quick look at this passenger side one, how it's mounted. Here's the brackets to hold the actuator motor in place, and then down there use the brackets to hold the gear in place. Here's what the gear looks like. You got the gear that fits on the crank here, then your regular gear that fits inside the actuator. Alright guys, so the first thing I want to point out, when you get your kit, take a good look at it, because when I got mine, right here, as you guys can see, the plastic's actually cracked. Now this wasn't cracked because after the install, it's actually cracked right out of the box. I'm assuming that the plastic molding just wasn't a good mold, and this piece cracked. So I contacted AutoLoc. They're gonna send me another set. So I think what I might do is I might try to glue this, epoxy this, to hopefully save it and use it as a backup. But for right now, I just got it. That's why if I hold this right here, It's just to keep this, there's a cable in there, and it just keeps everything in line as it's moving. So other than that, it works fine. The motor's powerful enough to lift up and down this old window in here, so no issues with that. So when you do get it, just make sure you look over it so that you don't get a defective one or one that might be already damaged, and you should be good. Alright guys, so after you look over all your parts and everything, make sure nothing's broke or cracked or anything, and you're ready to start the install. Obviously you're going to want to take your door panel off first. I already got that taken care of. But the next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take these gears, these plastic gears. Now these are made out of plastic. It's pretty hard plastic, but it is plastic. You want to take these gears and you're going to want to find the appropriate size gear that fits on your crank of your window. I'll go ahead and show you real quick what I'm talking about here. This is what you want to find, the right gear here. You're going to want to find the right gear that fits over this crank here. So you're going to want to test every one, push it on there. Make sure it's a tight fit. There's no slop, it actually turns, grips on there real good. Alright guys, so after you find the right fitting, you're going to utilize one of these fittings. There's multiple ones here, and this is the one that actually goes in the actuator. So this one slides in there like so, and then this one actually downsizes it and it fits in there to allow this whole system to turn the crank. So after you got those two pieces, you're going to take them. If you look here, if you guys will be able to see this, there's actually a notch in this gear here, and there's another notch in this gear. Hopefully you guys can see that. You're going to line up those two notches, and the reason you're doing that is you guys can see that notch right there. You guys can see that notch right there. The reason you're doing that is because you're going to take this screw that they give you and you're actually going to run that right where that notch is. And that's what's going to hold these two plastic pieces together. Now I was kind of skeptical at first when I seen how this is put together. But as you guys can see, I already installed it on the passenger side and it seems to work well. And this is a real hard plastic, so I don't think you have anything to worry about as far as anything stripping. Alright guys, so like I said, just take your screwdriver and go ahead and just screw that Phillips head screw all the way down there. And what it's going to do is it's going to lock those two plastic pieces together so that they don't move. Alright guys, so after you get your Phillips screw in there, this just slides right in there in the actuator. And then you have this ring that's actually going to hold it in place. I'm going to show you here. On this actual gear, there's a groove here. And this groove allows this metal ring to fit in there, and then it's going to hold this in place. I'm going to show you how that works. Just put it in there, and then take the ring, get the ring in that groove, just run it around, make sure it's in there, and that's what actually holds this gear into this arm. Alright guys, so now we're over at the door. I'm going to show you the gears line up like I showed you before onto your crank here, and then conveniently enough I got this valley here that I can easily run this arm through. But what I'm going to do is, if you guys can see up here, I actually I'm going to notch this door out so that this can fit in there fine. I could bend this, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to put any extra stress on this arm here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to notch this out with an air saw, and then this should be able to fit in there just like I did over on the passenger side. And it'll just dip right into this valley. This will be on the crank here, and I'll be able to put my braces on and everything, and it should work fine. Alright, I notched that out a little bit more. Seems to fit good. Now what we can do is we can go ahead and take the brackets and we can actually mock up where we actually want to put the brackets. So I'm going to probably put one across this way. I'll put another one going down. Maybe run one across this way. Alright guys, so the way I want to mount this is I want this motor to be flush with my door panel, because the door panels on these old classics just kind of lay flat. There's no actual room inside the panel itself, so I don't want to actually mount these from the back. They actually give you some screws so that you actually can screw this to the back of the motor, and then I'd have to actually bend this, kind of do like an L, or screw it from the inside. So what I figured out I could do is I just actually backed out these screws that are currently in there, and I just actually used this existing screw as the mounting spot for this bracket, and then that allows this to sit flush. I don't have to worry about this getting in the way of my door panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my drill, I'm going to pull out this screw here. The screw goes the full length. I'm going to go ahead and put my bracket on there, and then I'll just tighten this down. And then I'll position it however I want it. That's going to allow me to mount that so it's flush. And then what I'll do is I'll just run another bracket and maybe one here, and I'll have 3 points of contact to the door. Alright guys, so there's all three of my brackets on there. So yeah, you can move these. The way I got it set up is I can move these if I want to position them just right. And this is a universal kit, so use your imagination how you want to mount these. You know, each door is going to be set up differently as far as how to route this and to mount it. So this I found to be the easiest and the most logical way for me. Next step you want is they give you these little rubber kind of like grommets here. What you're going to want to do, these are going to be what you run the screws through. So I'm going to probably run a screw on this fourth one right here. You're going to want to just take that rubber grommet, you're going to put it in there. It's got little grooves. Just push it in there. That's how it's going to look. Then there's a little metal piece that goes in there, this round piece right here. This goes in the center of it, like so. And then that's what you're going to run your screw through when you mount it. And this just gives it a little bit of flexibility if need be when you're slamming your door or whatever the case may be. It's going to absorb some of that vibration. So you're going to want to do that in every spot where you mount this, where you use these brackets. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put these rubber grommets in, and then we'll go ahead and mount this up. Alright guys, so the next thing you want to do is, once you got this all lined up, is you're going to want to drill some holes here so that you can use the provided screws to actually screw this, mount this to your door. I already drilled the holes just to save some time here. I'm just going to line everything up. Go ahead, screw this in. That's going to hold that in there just fine. Like I said, I'm only using 3 brackets here. But this is a pretty light setup. This motor in here is not extremely heavy or anything. You can actually put more of these in here if you want to mount these. Like I could run another one here, run another one here for added support, I guess, but I don't see the need to. Everything seems fine. Alright guys, so the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to put your brackets on this end. You're going to run 2 screws here, 2 screws here, and you're going to mount it here. Make sure you put your grommets in first so you're not bending on this once it's mounted. They give you provided screws here to run that in there. So I'm going to do right now. Alright guys, so that's what it's going to look like all installed. Pretty simple to do. Like I said, every vehicle is going to have a different application. You just got to be creative because this is a universal kit. Alright guys, we're going to take a look at the wiring real quick. AutoLoc does a good job with making the wiring real painless. Everything is plug and play. There's no splicing of wires or anything. You can get this kit with switches or without. I end up getting it with switches. So it ends up coming with 3 switches here. One is for the driver's side. You get one for the driver window, one for the passenger window. Then your other side here is for obviously your passenger side, so they can have control over their window. Along with that, they provide some pods here. And these are to mount the switches if you choose to, and they can be mounted to your door panel. They provide screws here along with a template for mounting. Alright, so this is what the wire harness looks like. To the left here, you got your power and your ground, which is going to go to your battery or ignition, however you want to wire it. They got an inline fuse right there for you. Then as you run up, you're going to see right there is where your switch plugs in to one side, and then this is the wires that actually plug into your power window motor. Then over here is your driver's side, same setup. The switches plug into the wire harness, and then your blue and green wire there plug into the actual motor that moves your window up and down. Pretty simple setup. Like I said, everything just plugs in. You don't really have to splice any wires or anything like that, so it's pretty simple. AutoLoc did a good job with the wiring. Alright guys, so I got my window in, everything's wired up. I went ahead and I sprayed the tracks with some lithium grease there just to get everything running smoothly. I got the wires hooked up to my booster pack here, temporary, just for test reasons. Another quick note, if you guys use these switches, they do illuminate and they light up green. So when you wire this, you're going to run your power wire to your ignition wire. This way that if you run this straight to your battery, these are going to constantly stay illuminated and eventually drain your battery. So make sure you wire the power to your ignition wire. We're going to go ahead and hit the switch here. See how well this works. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. Hit the switch again, go down. No problems at all. Show the motor in action here. It's going down. That's it going up. Alright, so for those of you that are going to install these into your door panel, here's my door panel on. Obviously it's not covered. I took the plastic old vinyl off. I'm going to recover these. But what you would do is they give you stickers here. And the purpose of these stickers is to be able to cut out the hole so that your gear and everything can fit through there. So use these stickers as a guide. Cut this hole out bigger, and then you put the plug in there that I showed you guys earlier. We'll go ahead and do that for you guys just so you guys can see what it looks like. Alright, so if you choose to put the plug in, obviously you're just going to cut your door panel with the sticker provided, and then you're going to put the backing piece on there, and then you're going to choose the right depth for this plug. And that plug just goes right over. It just kind of covers up that hole where your window crank used to be. So that's what it would look like with just the plug. The other option that you have is you actually could put the control panel where you would have both switches over that. It's all up to you how you want to set it up. Like I said, every car is going to be different. I think what I might do is just run the switches to the center console. Still haven't decided for sure yet. I just wanted to make sure that this power window kit works and was actually, the motors were strong enough to lift up these windows on these old tracks. So all in all, I'm pretty pleased with them. Like I said, you can find these on eBay. I picked mine up for like 160 bucks for both sides, passenger and driver. And it came with switches. If you don't plan on using the switches and you're going to do your own wiring, you probably can pick them up for cheaper if you just want the motors. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. If you guys are interested in this power window kit, I'll put a link in the description box below. Hopefully you guys found this video useful. If you did, hit that like button. If you guys like what I'm doing on my channel here, hit that subscription button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you guys get notified for my next video. Post some comments below, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you guys later.